Welcome to Theme Weavers, your weekly wisdom for weaving yoga themes into your classes to inspire your students. I'm your host, Heidi Kasner. Let's get started. Welcome, Theme Weavers! Woo! Today we're going to look at how to deliver a Dharma talk and weave the myth of the churning of the cosmic ocean and its connection to turtle pose. In case this is the first episode that you're listening to, please take a moment to go back and check out Season 1, Episode 2 of the podcast for details and background on the structure of how and also why to weave themes throughout your yoga classes. Every episode, I attempt to break down a new theme for you to use in your classes as inspiration for you and your students. And if you're not a yoga teacher, but you're a yoga practitioner or a yoga lover, every episode you can deepen your knowledge of yoga theming and philosophy to help you tap into more of your practice beyond the asana, beyond the postures. I always chuckle at that if you're a lover of yoga or a lover of a yoga person. Anyway. But if you are a teacher and you choose to use the teaching from today's myth on the churning of the cosmic ocean as your theme, then please try and find a way to turn my voice into yours. I want you to find your own authentic voice, both in the words that you choose and the examples that you give and all the things like that. Be authentic. And before we get into the episode, just a few things. If you have not yet given a 5-star review to the podcast, please do. It really helps it show up for others, so that way they know that there's another yoga podcast out there. Also, feel free to write comments after the episodes, ask questions, reach out to me on email, Instagram, Facebook, in person if you're in the Massachusetts area. All of these touch points help me feel connected to you rather than just a human in a closet like I am right now. And if you're so inclined and do enjoy the podcast, there is an option to set up a subscription to Theme Weavers for a small monthly fee. I at least know they have it on Spotify. I don't know about other outlets, but it's a Spotify thing. If you're a chromatic yoga teacher especially, this is a great thing to do. I think it's under $5. And by doing this and being a paid subscriber, it lets you track the hours that you listen to the podcast, and you can use them for continuing education hours toward your chromatic trajectory and your teaching career. You can always reach out to me at themeweaverspodcast@gmail.com with any questions on how or why to subscribe. So I appreciate it. And lastly, 2 little pieces of exciting news. The course, if you haven't heard about it, Theme Weavers Academy has officially launched. Officially launched. It's meant to be a super fast course that you can go through and confidently create themes and figure out how to deliver them in a cohesive way to your students. The link's in the show notes. Again, it's meant to be really tangible, hands-on. You walk out of the course with all the resources to already run with your themed classes, which is awesome. I know this is especially great for people that either are feeling stale in your theming or that are feeling uneducated in your capacity to be able to tap into yoga philosophy and theme. I also wrote a book. It's called Energize Your Life. It's a workbook toward aligning and working through your chakras. The link's also in the show notes. All those things are down there and available to you. I'm really excited about it. It's also really pretty. I like how the cover feels. But all right, enough about that. Let's jump into today. All right, yoga story time. Gather around, listen up. Today, we are diving into the myth of the churning of the cosmic ocean. And this myth is a story from Hindu mythology that teaches us about perseverance, about balance, and about finding stability amidst chaos. It's beautifully connected to Karmasana, which is turtle pose. I honestly had just heard about this pose for the first time by one of my mentees that I work with, Adriana, when we were on the farm working through some chromatic yoga stuff this past October. It's a newer pose to me. She showed it to me. It's a cool one. I think the turtle pose embodies the grounding, steady energy we need in life's turbulent moments, because that's what turtles do. They're grounded, they're steady, all the things. But let me tell you the story first. Okay. The story begins with the gods, known as devas, and the demons, asuras, locked in conflict. Both sides realized that they needed the nectar of immortality, which you've heard me mention in the past because it's a really common theme of conflict in mythology to see who can gain the upper hand, right? Everybody wants this nectar. Well, the nectar was hidden at the bottom of the cosmic ocean. So the gods and the demons decided and agreed to work together to churn up the ocean to try and get the nectar out the bottom. they used Mount Mandara, which is a mythical sacred mountain, as a churning stick, and the serpent Vasuki as a rope to help them stir the ocean to get to the bottom and find the nectar of immortality. But as they began to churn, the mountain started to sink down into the ocean. So Vishnu was watching on and saw their struggle, and he decided to take the form of Kurma, a giant turtle, and he dove beneath the ocean surface all the way to the bottom, and he steadied the mountain on his back, allowing the gods and the demons to churn the ocean with his support. The churning is said to have brought forth so many different treasures, good and bad, right? It brought the moon, it brought precious gems, and even poison. But through the perseverance and balance from through the turtle at the bottom of the mountain and the churning, they finally brought up the nectar of immortality. The gods claimed it to restore balance and ensure the universe's stability. All right, so that's the story. And this myth teaches us about the balance that's required to navigate life's challenges. So just like the gods and demons working together, we all as humans need to balance opposing forces within ourselves. Maybe it's the opposing force of effort matched with surrender, or light and dark, or chaos and calm, or we learn in yoga philosophy, rajas and tamas, right? All of these different elements to create balance. Now, Vishnu, as the turtle, reminds us that we can find stability by grounding ourselves, even when everything around us feels uncertain. And frankly, to me, it also tells me that at times when we can't find stability on our own, we can turn to community or external supports to help us ground and make it through challenging experiences. I feel like this story resonates really deeply in our lives today. I often find that we get pulled in different directions by work, relationships, our kids, our partners, our friends, our family, our personal growth, tug, 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 all different directions. And because of all this tugging, there's moments when life can feel really overwhelming, just like the churning ocean. The myth reminds us, though, that when we can find stability within, grounding like the turtle, or stability by using our community and supports externally to us as well, we can then face life's challenges with patience and with strength. Challenges will still arise, though. Like in this example, the poison, which was found as the ocean churned, that came out. So the poison of doubt, of fear, of frustration, all of these different poisons in our lives can surface before the treasures do. Sometimes we have to go through the muck in order to get the beauty, right? But like the gods and the demons, when we persist with balance and with focus, we're able to uncover the gifts that are waiting for us in the struggle. We got to get through the struggle to get to the beauty. So as we move through today's practice, think of Karmasana, turtle pose, as a reflection of this myth. Turtle pose invites you to draw inward, to ground, and to steady yourself. Imagine that each pose, each breath that you take can help you find the balance between effort and ease, grounding and reaching. So let the practice today be a reminder that even in times of turbulence and stress and challenge, you can still ground and find your center despite all of that noise and stress. All right, so that's the Dharma talk that I would usually give around this myth. So story time's done, and now we get to the part of class where we can find the phrase that we drop throughout class as little breadcrumbs that we can drop at different points to help our students come back to this idea of the myth of the churning of the cosmic ocean. You follow the breadcrumbs, then you stay on course. Some options I like to use for my phrases, you can come up with your own, but ones that I like are anchor yourself like the turtle, steady amidst the churning waves. Or perhaps find balance between effort and surrender in this pose. Or maybe feel the support of the earth beneath you like the turtle's steady back. I really like that one, nice and grounding. Or perhaps trust that perseverance will reveal treasures even through struggle. That's a little wordy for me. I would say like trust through your effort, you will find the beauty even though there's challenges that come up in the process. Or ground yourself to rise above the chaos. So the fun thing about these phrases are sort of like when you're in a really challenging posture, you can remind them that even though this feels super challenging right now, and it might feel a little bit poisonous to your quads as you're holding this posture, or whatever the pose is, or whatever the body part is, like it's really hard, and I know that. And can you stick through that and stay with it and stay steady in that challenge, that grit, that like what might feel like the poison that came out of the ocean? Can you stay with that and feel that there's a gift on the other side, whether it's your growth, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, some growth that will come through the struggle of having to hold when you don't really want to. Yeah. All right. So that's the general theme that I try and get us toward. So you have your own thematic 3-line phrase, or maybe it's one of mine or a few of mine. So now let's talk about how we can bring all of this alive in the class. What additional things do you think we should hit on? Things like peak poses, which I've made kind of obvious, but we'll go through, or specific pranayamas, the breath work, or really anything else related to the churning of the cosmic ocean. All right, so I've alluded to it, turtle pose, this new awesome pose that I learned from Adriana, Karmasana. It's a really intense forward fold that shuts out sensory distractions and quiets the nervous system. It's kind of like along the lines of child's pose or seated forward fold, or really just any forward fold in general, how these postures prepare you for turtle, and then they can have you also prepare you with that theme of retreating inward for grounding and surrender. So these forward folds are nice preparatory postures, and let me tell you why. If you don't know what turtle pose is, like I didn't until this past October, it's like a straddle forward fold, but your arms slide underneath your legs as your chin or forehead is on the ground. And then if you're able to keep going, your arms internally rotate enough that you can bind them behind your back. So it's super intense between the forward fold, the inner thigh stretch, the internal rotation of the arms. It's really intense. And I think for me with this pose especially, which I can't even come close to in its final form, I'm lucky that I can sit in the straddle without wanting to round forward. It's important to realize that I can still create grounding and stability and care no matter where I am in the journey. Let me elaborate on that. I feel like I often hear people say things like, I'll be fine once, fill in the blank. So once the divorce is final, once the kids move, once I get a new job, whatever it is. And they think they need to reach some external end goal in order to find their emotional health and life are balanced and good. I hear it all the time. I'm guilty of it too, But in reality, that's all taking away our ownership and giving away our power at helping ourselves no matter where we are in the process. So no matter what poison or ickiness comes our way, we still have the capacity to be present and anchor to our own inner strength and be present. I don't mean to imply that when crap and junk comes our way, that we don't feel knocked off our foundation and we simply just believe everything is fine, right? I'm not saying that we don't need to wait to evolve to whatever it is we're trying to feel once we reach an end goal. But what I am saying is we can find that stability and feel good no matter where we are in this process. We don't have to wait for everything to end, because usually when we wait for everything to end, we're putting away that like good feeling into somebody else, and then we don't feel good at the end because we didn't believe it was good within us. I hope that makes sense. It really makes sense to me, so we're just going to go with it makes sense. There's also a really nice mudra you can use, which is a gesture of grounding and stability. It's called precede mudra. It's when you touch the tip of your ring finger to the tip of your thumb, and you keep the other 3 fingers extended and relaxed. So you hold this mudra in one or both hands, resting them then on your knees or your thighs with the palms facing upward. It's a nice mudra, a nice hand gesture to throw in within this class to stay within the myth and remind us. There's also some nice inspirational quotes related to the myth that I like. Deepak Chopra, in the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you. Or this one's nice. What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. That's Ralph Waldo Emerson. Another one, patience and perseverance have a magical effect before which difficulties disappear. You'll never believe it. That was John Quincy Adams who said that one. And here's another one. This one's unknown. Like the turtle, retreat within to find your strength and stability. Or maybe you want to give a meditation, a visualization where you can visualize yourself as the turtle, steadying the mountain amidst a churning ocean. With each breath, feel your ability to ground and center yourself no matter what arises. So these are all things that you can bring into the class to help complete the myth coming alive within the class, so we know what it's all about. And maybe you have other ways too. Let me know, please, in the comments or things like that. So we can all continue to learn from each other. These are just the ideas that I had when I teach this class. All right, so let's wrap up the class now that we talked about all of that. Here's what I would say in a class like this as a reverse Dharma talk. It's reverse because I do it at the closing of the class. All right, here we go. As you prepare to leave your mat, take a moment to reflect on the lessons of karma and the churning of the cosmic ocean. Life will always bring moments of chaos and challenge, waves that churn and pull in every direction. But just as Vishnu steadied the mountain as the turtle, you have the power to steady yourself. When life feels overwhelming to us, remember that stability begins within. Ground yourself, find balance, and trust that perseverance will lead you to the treasures that are hidden within the struggle. The lessons of this myth remind us that even when poison arises, it's part of the process that leads to clarity, that leads to strength, and that leads to growth. So please ask yourself, where can I ground myself more deeply in my life? What treasures might emerge if I embrace the churning waves with patience and with trust? Okay. Now, yogis, if you liked this yoga story time, find a way to bring the theme alive in your own voice, in your own practice, and in your own teaching. The story of Vishnu as the turtle teaches us to find stability amidst chaos and persevere through life's challenges with patience and with balance. I hope that this myth inspires you to stay grounded and steady, both on and off of your yoga mat. Then please reach out to me, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or email or in person, however you want to, carrier pigeon, all the ways, and let me know how it lands. I'm here to support you, fellow yoga teacher, and your class preparation and delivery. So please let me know how I can be of the most support to you. Please tune in next time where instead of a new myth, I have two very amazing guests to share with you that I just know you will absolutely love. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. So excited. So come back next week to hear that experience of me talking with these two amazing humans. And then please don't forget to check out our course, Theme Weavers Academy, Crafting Impactful Classes. Click the link in the show notes to enroll and learn more about it. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week with a new myth and modern inspiration to bring to your practice and your teaching. See you next time.